Hey everyone, Sincere here. This is the first video of the Road to Getting Good series. In this series we'll be going through replays and analyzing every move and the thinking behind it. Now the first thing, as you can see I'm noticing, is the team lineup and where they're going to be positioned. So I'm hovering my mouse around and seeing where most of my team is going, because half of our team are heavies. And so, as you can notice, we've got 6 heavies going in this direction, and we've got our mediums and the tank destroyers playing the usual role in the south. And so far we've got nothing in middle. So what that means is the middle flank is most likely going to collapse. Now the middle flank is a very good position to hold and fight, but if you have no support, there is no point, because no matter how good of a position you have, if you're alone there, they're just going to overwhelm you. So now we're going to be playing the 8-9 line. And so what a Unicum does is, he sees the map and sees which flank he can break through. So at this point we haven't spotted anything yet. And there you go, that's the first 430 lit. Now the T10 pops up, bounces, I just returned the favor. And we see the STA-1 is going middle, so we'll have vision on the middle flank soon. And we've got a lot of heavy tanks on this side. So what we have to do so far is we have an overmatch. And when I say overmatch, what I mean is we have more tanks on this flank than they do. So in theory, we should be able to win this flank. So I should project a 54 there, I bounce off. But what I'm trying to do here is, if you look at the bigger picture, I'm trying to get these hull down heavies to get the position up front, so they have eyes on that hull whenever he pokes out again. So what I'm doing is I'm applying pressure so that he can't poke out anymore. Now this 430 is smart. He notices this flank is going to collapse, and I notice there are 2 heavies in the middle. So that means we can easily kill these 3 tanks for free. Now the 430 runs away, but takes a shot as he goes out. I know that T10's gonna die because there are 4 heavy tanks chasing after him, and so I pressure the Progetto 54, knowing that my backside is covered. Finish him off easy, and I just disregard the T10 because I know they'll handle it. Now looking at the flank, they have control of the middle, but they've lost control of the north and the south. So from this point, and that's just free damage, never ever say no to free damage. I'll be pushing through this road into the center. Now why didn't I push through the base? Because if I push to the base, the points in the middle, they can snipe across as you push through the base. So it's not feasible at the moment to push through. So the Link spots me, but I'm not really concerned because there's nothing that can shoot me there. Now I spot this Carnarvon, and I notice this Carnarvon is really hesitant to engage. And so I put more pressure, because our EBR just died, trying to kill their Arty. And once he has died, they're all facing me now. So I pressure the Carnarvon, and the Lynx tracks me there. Now I know I'm on reload, and you see how I'm watching that Lynx to see if he'll track me again in time, so whether it's worth using the repair kit. And once it's reloaded, I finish off the Carnarvon. Now all their heavies and their medium, they pushed back to get shots across. So this gives me a chance to flank behind. Now there's a T10 on the other side. Now this is a very important part of the battle. As that T10's reversing and falling back from our allies, I'll put a shot into him, and he notices me there. So what do? In this position, I know so far that that area there is clear, and they're all on the other side, the lower ground. And that T10, his easiest shot is to shoot me. So what I'll do is I'll go forward and side scrape off this rock here so that he can't shoot me. And so he misses, and then he'll be finished. And I know that because as soon as I moved forward there was nothing here, and that was good timing because the E-75 was coming back to assist him. Now the E-75, and this is really important, when you when you're aiming outside the third person view, you want to look at where you want to pre-aim those spots, those weak spots, before actually pulling that shot. Now that 430 pushes into that rock, and that E-75 is watching, so I can't push into him. And that was a bad shot by me there on the tracks. My idea was to pretend that I'm looking at the E-75, bait him, and then shoot that upper plate, but instead the shot went more towards the tracks. Now what I did there was I over-angled my lower plate around that corner, so it bounces off because it's a very great angle. And this is a series of really bad and poor marksmanship by me. Now the rules of this series is there's no gold ammo and only tech tree tanks, so we're just taking out that pay to win element. And I could pen these shots with AP if I had aimed better here, which I clearly did not. So I know the 430 is under pressure, and that we have, and every flank right now, like, it's not collapsing, so we can play slow. We don't have to bleed HP. There's no reason to bleed HP yet. I notice he fires, and at this point my brain remembers that the weak spot is that plate there, and now I push. Why do I push? Because I want to clear this flank now. We have tanks waiting, we don't want to waste any further time, and they're both low in HP. So when I push on this outside. Now what this does is it pressures that 430 to make a play, because if he stays there he'll get shot by me. If he doesn't, then he'll get shot by the others from behind. So he tries to make a run for it again. He gets shot by Artie and we finish him off. So far it's a decent game and we've conserved a lot of our HP. So now what we do is we just rush directly in, because we've conserved our HP to a point where now everything that we spot will be counted as our spotting, and we can use our HP to exchange for the experience we'll get. Now I stopped there to take a shot at the lower plate of the 50 TP. Unfortunately RNG said no, that's not happening. And you notice how I just keep pushing, don't stop, because I have the HP and I want to maximize my combined damage at the end. And that's what you do. When you have HP and it's the end game, you don't have to wait, because HP means nothing unless it's mid game or early game where you need to survive. In the end game, when you know the game is secure, you can push all the way in, use that HP, and maximize your damage potential. Now you notice how I keep an eye on the Indian Panzer to make sure that I don't get crossfired when I push into the SU-101. And the Indian Panzer dies to the artillery. Now this Patriot, he gets YOLO'd by the SU-101, and this is just third person aiming. That comes with experience, and I notice the artillery pushing in. And he just tries his last effort and then just really dies there. So that was a 6k damage combined game that we saw, and that one blind hit, so it's gonna be around 6.5k damage combined game. So what did we learn from this game? The first thing we do is we look at the map. We noticed the middle was gonna collapse. If I went middle with the STA-1, I could have gotten maybe 3 shots off, 4 shots off, but then eventually they would have killed me because of my DPM. The next thing is you always want to have support where you go. You notice how I didn't go alone in any spot. The Patriot was behind me when I pushed the Carnarvon. We had 5 heavy tanks when we pushed the 9 line. And you never want to go into the open. You should always think twice before crossing the open or trying to switch flanks. It's always better to take the inside road. It might be slower, but you'll get there in one piece. The next thing we learned is you should learn to shoot a Type 4, because that was just really bad marksmanship by me the first 2 shots. I could have easily gone 7.5k, maybe 8k damage combined. But that's all we have to, that's what we do. A Unicum always learns from his mistakes that he makes. And nobody can be perfect, everyone makes mistakes. And lastly, when it's the end game and you know the game is secure, even if I had got ammo racked as soon as I pushed into their base, I know that my team will win this because at that point the game was secured. It was a guaranteed win. And so you push in, get all that spotting, you get that extra damage, and you just maximize what you can out of that game. Because, I mean, you're just wasting potential if you're not going for it. What's the point of conserving HP unless you're really low on credits and you want to save repair costs? So we'll have a look at the post-game stats and then we'll close it off. Alright, so here are the battle results for that E-75 game. We've got an ace tanker, a high caliber, and a steel ball. And if you look at the team score, we almost did twice as much damage as the second person. We shot 17 rounds, we hit 16 and we penned 10. That penetration rate is partially my fault for not penning the Type 4. However, we make credits regardless if we had a premium account or not. And that's pretty much it. That's what defines the difference between a skilled player, a good player, and an average player. It's the consistency to have good games, game after game, instead of having a game maybe 1 in 10 games or 1 in 20 games. So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful in any way. If so, please leave a like and let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more games like these, and let me know what tank as well. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.